Hello everyone, back checking in on the cryptocurrency space. Before I get into it, just starting to explore the Steemit website and everything going on there. And if you're not familiar with it, it's worth checking out. It's basically what they're trying to do is become a new YouTube, so to speak, that rewards content creators and users with cryptocurrency. It's an interesting concept, and if it were to catch on, it would be very, very cool. So I'm going to start posting some videos there, and I'm going to post these videos there, and then I'm also going to start posting some specific videos there that I'm not going to be posting on YouTube, just to see what kind of outreach there is and see if that community does continue to grow. In my opinion, it's worth checking out because it would be so early in the adoption of this space that if it were to become the next thing, getting in now would be really cool. So I'm going to start posting over there. Again, it's steemit.com. And it's worth checking out in terms of their model for rewarding content creators as well as users that are watching that content. Certainly more lucrative than YouTube is, and we'll see how it plays out. So looking at this chart, if you watched the video from yesterday, things went perfectly. If you have not watched the video from yesterday, I suggest going back and looking at it in hindsight, just in terms of seeing what we were looking at, what we were anticipating, and how it all played out. And that's really just a glimpse into the past. And again, this is probably in the past 2 months of trading this space with the chart guys and our whole community. This is probably the trade that I'm most proud of, what happened yesterday into today. Not only because of the specifics of laying out entries and exits and the specifics in terms of, you know, a 35+% gain and the time frame established for the trade, but just a whole bunch of teamwork where we were all in the chat room, and it's so much more fun making money when you're doing it with a whole bunch of people and everybody's making the same kind of entries. Yesterday we were looking at 206 support. We had people getting in at 207, 209, and just making beautiful entries. And what we were looking at in that video was for the bounce. The bounce in the volume is what had me thinking the trend was going to change. And we saw the bounce top out, and then we started to pull back significantly. And I was sweating a little bit this morning in terms of, this might not play out right. And we ended up pulling back all the way back down to 211. So we were looking for the higher low. In the video, I kept saying how we need that higher low established to find that support, and then we see the higher high to give us that trend change. And we did see the higher low. It just came very, very close, within $5 of an all-out dump and continuation to the downside. The bulls defended that level, and now we have our breakout. Tons of follow through, tons of gains to be had in a short amount of time, and it really went perfectly. So we made our entry in the 206 range at 206 support, and our target was 280. And I think I put a 36-hour time frame target for that to be hit, and it went beautifully. So I do like this ETH chart on this hourly time frame for this bounce more than BTC and LTC, because it was a higher low, and Bitcoin and Litecoin, which we will see in just a moment, set a lower low. So it's a bit of a different setup, but still very similar. So we set our higher low, and when we were hitting our low of the day here, down at 211 this morning, it looked to me like the bears could have very easily dropped the price and broken 206 support and broken down to the downside further. It looked to me like the bears almost stopped. And normally you would see something like the bears pushing the price to the downside, and then big bids show up, a lot of ask or a lot of support on the bid would show up and just stop the bears dead in their tracks. That didn't happen. The bears just stopped selling, and then the bulls started buying the dip, and we took off from there. And you can see what happened: increasing bull volume and just a straight shot to the upside. Now we're consolidating a little bit, but this is a very significant move where we went from 211 up to 288 in a very short amount of time. So I personally am all cash right now. I'm scouting another trade, another entry that can be made after hitting our target, and I am anticipating a likelihood scenario of an equilibrium pattern to form out, to establish now. Where looking at it on a shorter term time frame, let's check the 15-minute, and that was a potential bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern I was looking at, but we made a bull break, and that did not happen. We did not break the neckline of support, so there is no bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern to be watching here. But what I'm looking for, there is, I mean, you know the equilibrium pattern at this point if you know me. We've got our high, we've got our low of the pullback, and maybe potentially now that's our lower high. If it is, we'll look to pull back and form a higher low somewhere in here, maybe around the 270 mark. But watching for this equilibrium pattern to play out, as we need to consolidate. You look at that hourly chart, and we just shot straight to the upside. Very little consolidation on the way up. So we did pull back, and we tried to establish some support here. Look at this perfect example of previous resistance now acting as support. Look at the top we had here from the initial bounce attempt. Look at where we bounced on the initial consolidation before we hit our target of 280. We consolidated, we back tested, and bounced right off that previous resistance, now support, and then headed to the upside. So here we are establishing another higher low. 260 is key support in the short term to maintain that higher low, and now our resistance is 283, and I'm rounding here. But just looking for our lower high and higher low pattern to begin to play out, and a break of this pattern will give a nice trade opportunity. If it is a bull break, we'll be looking for another entry opportunity, but this is going to play out, in my opinion, for the next couple hours, and I want to sleep, so we'll see if we get an entry on this time frame. Looking at the daily, what can we anticipate from here? Is the trend changed? Yes, it has changed on the hourly. The 4-hour chart and the most oversold RSI on the 4-hour chart that we have seen in 2017 was a big reason that I was confident that we were going to see the bulls make a significant move here. We established our higher low, we confirmed our bullish reversal hammer, and then we saw follow through on increasing big bull volume. So that is the first higher low and higher high on this 4-hour chart that we have seen since the top back up at 381. It's been nothing but lower highs and lower lows since then. Now it has changed. So on the daily time frame, still a lot of work to do for the bulls. Clearly they're buying the dip. Big bullish reversal candlestick. We have not confirmed any bullish reversal candlesticks on the daily time frame yet. We're clearly seeing resistance 293, 288, and now 287. So still lower highs on the daily time frame, and I would be watching for a potential resistance level at 300 psychological, but I do not anticipate to change the trend. We need to keep that in mind. I do not anticipate to change this declining, this consolidation trend on the daily time frame at this point. It's the same thing that we just saw on the hourly that needs to happen. So we need to see a bounce attempt. We need to see a lower high established. Shouldn't say we need to see, but we will likely see a lower high established compared to these little bounce attempts back up in the 330s. So a lower high compared to 330, then we have to pull back and form our higher low. We're coming right off the low right now on this strong move, and we don't have that bull move and then consolidation and then continuation. So on the hourly time frame, again, just to touch back, it was a bull move. We consolidated, formed our higher low, and then we got our higher high for the trend change. You can't really just come right off the low and expect to break the lower high pattern when you're in this significant of a pullback. So same thing on the daily chart. We're not going to anticipate coming off the low and just shooting straight up through the 330s without consolidating and establishing higher lows on the way on this daily time frame. So that's what I'm anticipating going forward. I am going to be cautious up around the $300 level because of this pattern on the daily time frame. I don't believe that we're just going to shoot back and head up to 400 at this point without some more bouncing around. I think things are going to settle down before we see the bull's ability to try and change this consolidation on the daily time frame. So Bitcoin on the hourly, same pattern, but we did get a lower low, and this made the bulls sweat a little bit more significantly, but there was high volume, and then we broke the lower high pattern. Bulls showed up, changing the trend, and now we're seeing an equilibrium pattern. Our high, low, lower high potentially being set. So resistance is 2567, support is 2480, and it looks like we just set our lower high at 2540. And it does look like this pattern is going to be playing out as an equilibrium pattern, and I think the 15-minute time frame is the best time frame to be watching it play out. And I do think we're going to get a clear break and a clear trade in the wee hours of the morning on the East Coast here. So here on Bitcoin on the daily time frame is a different setup because we still have a higher low. From back here, we dumped more significantly back in mid-June, so we do have an extra support level, and we have an equilibrium pattern here on Bitcoin, and it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful pattern. Look at it. So we've got our all-time high. We've got our low of our pullback. We've got our lower high set. We've got our higher low set. That's the range right now. 2291 support and 2783 resistance. That is a wide range, so we can anticipate that the range is going to continue to tighten and volatility is going to continue to drop off as we continue to form this pattern. So if we do see the bulls follow through on this daily time frame, which we have not yet, but if we do see them show back up into tomorrow, we will look for a lower high to be set compared to 2783. And I will be looking around, let's say 2750, or actually around 2700. I would say around 2700 would be an area. Upper 2600, around 2,700, lower high to be set, equilibrium pattern to continue playing out. And this is a beautiful chart, and it's going to give us a beautiful clear break, and it's going to allow us to trade the correlation with the other names, which don't have this clear setup on their daily time frame. So I am absolutely going to use this daily time frame chart on Bitcoin to make a bullish entry on ETH if and when it does break. Litecoin on the hourly time frame, same thing with that lower low, but we did break the lower high pattern with the bull showing up. It's not as significant of a move because we did get that lower low, and coming off the bottom, we had more work to do for the bulls. Same equilibrium pattern likely forming, higher lows, lower highs. Clearly, you can see the correlation between all these names is very strong. One thing I want to point out, and let's go to, I'll finish up Litecoin here, but just a fundamental aspect that I want to point out here in just a moment. So Litecoin is a completely different daily chart, and we have a bullish reversal hammer. Our higher low is hopefully for the bulls being set at 32.62. We must confirm this candlestick with a green day tomorrow. We have a lot of time left. We've got about 20 hours left in this day, but we must see a green confirmation. We must break the current high that we've seen. Otherwise, the bears remain in full control of this chart. So what I want to touch on, and I will get into Golem, sorry I forgot that in the last video, the correlation to the stock market. I've been trading the stock market for 7 years. I do it every single day in our chat room. I cover the S&P 500. I watch the correlation between the tech sector and oil and gold, and I'm watching everything. And I love correlations. It really gives you clues as to what to anticipate. And today I saw a correlation related to the cryptocurrency space and the overall stock market. And it's very interesting to watch this start to happen. And it's really when the bulls kicked things into second gear here on this bounce attempt. So what I'm looking at is 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's zoom in here on Bitcoin. And again, this is the same for all the cryptocurrencies this happened. But I'm just going to focus on Bitcoin, and I'm going to pull up the chart for SPY. SPY is the S&P 500. That's what I use as a gauge of market strength in the U.S. stock market. And I want to look back and say what happened at 1:30 p.m. Eastern here as well. So at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, look at this bear volume. So look at the volume preceding it, and look at the bear volume spike and the all-out dump. And then we dump down for the next 45 minutes or so on high bear volume. At the same exact time, Bitcoin, look at 1:30. Here we are right here, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Look at the volume before this move. Look at the volume, bull volume pouring in for 25 minutes in a row. And then that really was the catalyst where the bulls took off and they changed the trend on the 5-minute time frame. And then from there, that was the low. 1:30 is really when the bulls turned things around significantly and took off to the upside. So in my opinion, there was a correlation today, an inverse correlation with market weakness in the stock market leading to cryptocurrency strength. Now, when you see weakness in the stock market, people take their money out and they want a safe haven, and gold has been that safe haven. And there's utility and defensive sectors that other people rotate their money into as well. But I do believe that the cryptocurrency space is going to become another safe haven. When people leave the stock market, they're going to put their money in the cryptocurrency space. And I do believe there's going to be a bit of an inverse correlation with that space. That being said, I was astounded that the stock market was at all-time highs. In 2017, the stock market is the strongest I've ever seen it. And we were at all-time highs when this cryptocurrency boom was going multiple hundreds of % in months. And that to me was astounding because I knew that none of the money coming into the cryptocurrency space was money leaving the stock market. Everybody is riding high on the stock market and they are not taking their money out. Besides the past couple days, we've seen some money shifting around and some pullback. But other than that, on this run up, the stock market has remained extremely strong. So that tells me money is not coming from the stock market, and that tells me that when the market turns, when we enter a bearish market in the stock market, which really hasn't happened in 10 years since 2008, but once we do see some pullback, and it will happen eventually, I would expect money to leave stocks and money to come into the cryptocurrency space. And I'm going to be monitoring this correlation very closely over the coming months, coming years, coming forever, because I do believe that this relationship with the market and this cryptocurrency space now is more legitimate than it's ever been because of its adoption with the general public and because of the gains that we have been seeing. It's being mentioned on CNBC and the Wall Street Journal. It's being adopted by the public, and it will have a correlation with the market going forward. And I think that correlation will strengthen, and I'm absolutely going to be using it, where if I see bearish market action, I'm going to be jumping in the cryptocurrency space more aggressively. but I need to see more confirmation. Again, this is just the first time I've actually seen it. It's very exciting. I was getting all kinds of happy feelings today when I noticed this happen, but I'm going to be watching to backtest this theory, see how it plays out from here, but it was really interesting to watch. So on to Golem. Same pattern here with our double bottom low. We did set a lower low, but these lower wicks show the bulls are very clearly buying this dip of support. So I've got a clear support level that I'm watching now down here at just under 18, and we bounced off that multiple times, and same thing, we broke the lower high pattern. And same thing, equilibrium pattern is likely forming. So the correlations between everything are picked up so significantly, and that's one thing about the stock market that has taught me: when volatility and volume pick up, correlations strengthen. So that is why we see Golem, the altcoin, is trading with these big three, whereas in the past they've been trading inverse or not trading all in the same direction like we're seeing right now. So the volatility picking up in the past 3 days has led to the correlation picking up as well. So on the daily time frame for Golem, we have our bullish reversal hammer. We are needing to see confirmation. Same story across the board for all of these names. Sure, it's a great bullish reversal candlestick. Sure, the gains have been great from the bottom, but if we do not see a green day on, again, it's past midnight right now, so I'm looking at Wednesday. If we don't see a green day Wednesday, tomorrow, today, whatever, then we need to be cautious bullish. That would be a red flag to me, absolutely. That's all I got for tonight. I appreciate you watching. Come on over to Steemit. Let's check this out. Let's get this community going and see if we can all make some cryptocurrency in that space, sharing, liking, doing all the same content things. What we do on Facebook, when you like something on Facebook and when you go to a page, you're really just, you're paying for Facebook advertising fees. They benefit. We get nothing as the user. We're using their website, we're clicking content, we're showing likes and shares and all that, and YouTube is raking in the money from advertisers because we are doing that. And this Steemit model is more of an egalitarian model where everybody can benefit, and I'm very interested to check it out. So I am going to start posting content there. Hope to see you over there. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.